our little coffee concoction, as I call it. All right, we're going to take our coffee concoction like a Bob Ross. Oh, forgot one major part, ladies and gentlemen, the filter. That would make a mess. And the females I live with would definitely ridicule me for weeks if we forgot the filter. So we're going to go one scoop. We're going to go another full scoop because I got a certain container in there that basically, a certain little scooper that's perfect with 2 scoops, right? For a nice little thing there. And then we're going to press start. And we'll be enjoying some coffee, Marco, probably in around a good 5-6 minutes, buddy.
Now,
How about that?
I have a question. Have you ever brewed a cup of coffee and not put the pot underneath and then got that huge mess, when you're in a rush in the morning?
Yes.
Ugh.
Yes, I've done a bunch of stupid things. I've rushed to the point where you come back and like the filter is like all like banged up and there's coffee grounds everywhere and stuff like that when I'm in a rush in the morning. So yeah, that's always fun. That's good times. That's good times.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites right there. And what were you using? The breakfast blend and what else?
I'm a fan of the I like the breakfast blend, but not everyone in my house is a fan of the breakfast blend. So I've been able to get away with the little concoction of the regular coffee, just regular Folgers regular coffee. They would call it the classic roast, I believe. And then I'll take my breakfast blend and I will mix the two together.
You think about 50-50?
I do it around 50-50. Yes.
50-50. Yeah, I could dig that. That sounds good. And
Yeah, it's not bad.
when the coffee, are you a mug guy or are you a travel container type of guy?
Depends. If I'm home, give me the big mug. If I'm going out, I have no problem taking the to-go. The bigger the mug, the bigger the to-go, the better. The more coffee, the better. In all, yeah, you can't go wrong.
Now, are you a sugar or a creamer guy?
I'm a light and sweet salvation. I would prefer the French vanilla coffee mate to anything else.
Flavors.
I'm a big French vanilla guy. I like it. Yeah, like a little. That's the only one though. Like I can't do the hazelnut pumpkin shit. Like no, like just a little French vanilla or regular.
Just a little touch.
And there's a little touch, and then a little couple of sugars, and light and sweet. That's how I like it. Light and sweet.
Not bad.
Light and sweet salvation, I call it. Yes, that's right.
Now, now, if you drink this cup of coffee now, we're 9:34. What do you think the rest of the whole day would be?
Well, I think that you're asking like what the consequences of the cup of coffee is going to be.
Yes, is this gonna throw a monkey wrench into all your plans?
Yeah, well, I'm a little tired, so I found myself dozing off as we were waiting, and we usually go on at 10. It's already 9:30. If we went on at 10, I would have been passed out. So making the coffee to give me a little boost. Try to get me through the show. What'll happen now is after I drink the coffee is I probably will be up for the majority of the evening, using the bathroom because of the caffeine.
See, I think I'm gonna wake up to a barrage of Facebook messages and Twitter mentions of your midnight tirades.
Of my little coffee, what am I getting up and going to the bathroom?
Of being very active on the Twitter and the Facebook, because all day.
Okay. Well, we can do.
All right. I think we are streaming live. A little coffee talk.
Little coffee talk. Hey, it's coffee talk.
Let me make sure.
Topic. Rhode Island is neither a road or an island. Discuss.
All right. We are.
Coffee talk.
The thumbnail is updated, so people should see a legitimate thumbnail. And let me hit the button, and we'll start. We're on the blog today. We're on the blog. Today we're on the Blog Talk Radio. So if you do want to call in, It's what's the number? 516-453-9383. But we have a lot to talk about regarding the future
Oh,
podcast and where it's going. Are you ready? Tell me.
I'm ready, buddy.
Give me my instructions.
Play to drop.
Welcome to the Bleedbigblue podcast, dedicated coverage of the New York Football Giants by your hosts, Marco, Trifecta, T. Merritt, and JBW.
What is going on, everyone? What is going on? It is Wednesday, the 31st. Happy Halloween, everyone. If you're getting home from trick-or-treating, or if you're on the couch, almost comatose because you've had way too many Reese's Pieces and your blood sugar is dropping, spend some time with us, chat, talk about the Giants, commiserate. I have James on the phone. We are on Blog Talk Radio today, simulcasting to, what are we on? Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Those are the main four, I think. Those are the main four. We are...
I don't know any other ones.
No.
You guys are all over the place.
No, it's difficult. It's difficult. Comments coming in from everywhere. And then people start hitting me up from multiple places. It's like, all right. But
yeah, it's hard to keep track of all the different comments and stuff coming in from all the different places. We need to be assigned to one place each.
Yeah. Our intern Todd has been hard working on Discord, so...
Thank you, Todd.
So there we have that.
Todd, you will make me a frittata.
Yes, I have that one. Todd, where is your frittata?
Oh, did you really?
Todd, you will go make me a frittata.
Nice. That is perfect.
So James, so far it's me and you. It's on your mind. You want to talk a little?
It's just two paisans.
Yeah, it just is.
What circus? What part of the circus do you want to lead off with, man? I mean, it's just.
Let me tell you.
Lead the way.
Let me tell you how I get to work. I have a pretty long commute into the city, right? So about half of the commute is fine, no problem. But that end part of the commute by the Lincoln Tunnel, it is a nightmare there. It is a nightmare. Have you made that commute?
I'm getting an excuse here. Go ahead.
Have you ever made that commute yourself?
No, I have not. I have not made that commute.
Oh, no firsthand experience with that? No
firsthand experience. Firsthand experience with the traffic down there, but not that area. No. So enlighten me, please. What happened? Let's hear this.
Well, they funnel everyone around, and it's difficult to get to your spot. And sometimes the navigation really doesn't match up to where they have the roads delegated off as detours, so it can get confusing. Sometimes you might make a wrong turn or realize that it's putting you 40 minutes out of one way, so you might pop a Yui. And maybe you're
from the left lane.
Yeah, sometimes.
From the left.
I mean, if you have a dope car and could do stuff like that, then yeah, more power to you.
You get the Back to the Future joint. You can just, we don't need roads.
Roads. We don't need roads.
We don't need roads. We don't need roads where we're going. I don't know what he was thinking. He was late.
He was late.
He was running late.
You know who's not
running late?
You know who's not late? Davis Webb.
Eli, except on his reads.
And on his throws.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know what he was thinking. I saw Renan come out with a tweet earlier that said he asked a bunch of players what time they were expected to be there. And they were expected to be there at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And the incident, I guess, according to the police report, happened at 8. So he was naturally running late from jump.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I mean, you try not to read too much into it, but I mean, let me put it to you this way: if if they told me, if I could see the writing on the wall, and that I was going to have a shot to be the starting quarterback just a week or a quarter, I would definitely, without a doubt, I would live there. I would live at the facility.
Would you rent a hotel right down the road?
I would live at the facility. Like they would not be able to get rid of it at all. And I don't know how he was even close to being late. I just don't understand it at all. You get the whole world in front of you, dude. And what are you doing? When do these opportunities get presented to you? And here it is. There's no other quarterbacks on the roster besides Tanny. You got a chance to be the starting quarterback in the next couple of weeks, and you're cutting it close? It's not a good look.
Not a good
look.
Not the worst look. I mean, there are much worse things that could happen. Let's be honest.
Oh, yeah, but definitely. But the fact that it's just not now. Like, just out of all the timing of it, it's just not a very good look. I mean, if it would have happened in week 1 when he was just going to be inactive, like they're trying to up his reps to get him to start. Like,
I know.
Like, he got arrested yesterday. They were walking him into the Weehawken Police Department. I mean, what? What's going on?
Do we know when he's getting out? Does anyone have any news on that?
I'll tell you, my going after Chad Kelly idea looks a lot better today than it did yesterday.
Right, he's currently not incarcerated, so there's thumbs up to that.
How about that?
Yeah, how about that? Is your coffee completed? Are you milked and sugared?
Yes, the coffee is completed. I am full. I got my coffee. I'm in my war room. Let's talk.
All right, let's talk. Are you a little underwhelmed by our fire sale?
Yeah, right? I mean, all right. I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, no one was giving you a second-round pick for Landon Collins. No one. Because of the fact that, 1, he's not really playing too great, and 2, they got to re-sign him. So for you to set the price as a second-round pick is, to me, completely unrealistic. And even if you're going to set the price as a second-round pick, that doesn't mean that you're not willing to come off it in the middle of a negotiation. So if the rumors are correct that a third was offered, what are they doing? Jenkins, why are you keeping him? Vernon, why are you keeping him? I don't understand. And the thing that scares me about it is this. I think that we're in for this year what we're in. I think next year we're in for the same thing we're in for right now.
Oh yeah, especially if we're going in with a quarterback.
Not only that, I don't think there's going to be a rookie quarterback. How about that?
All right, let's go under the premise there's not going to be a rookie quarterback. You trading?
And if there is a rookie quarterback, I still think Eli comes back. How about that?
How about are you trading down?
Oh, is the quarterback there? I mean, here's the thing, man. They don't value. They looked at this draft and tried to sell us that they weren't sold on Darnold, Rosen, or these other guys. And if you're watching this thing and you're not blind and you're watching the games on Sunday, they're full of shit. So, I don't. Here's my thing, right? Here's the thing that I'm really scared about is when I look at the decisions that were made leading up to this season, all of them, every single one of them, it terrifies me going into next season. Because, especially now with the fire sale that wasn't a fire sale, is you have a lot of these pieces, correct me if I'm wrong, but, I mean, Vernon's going to be back next year. Right? Now.
Unless he's cut.
Vernon's coming back. Then, why would you, if you were going to cut him at the end of the season, why weren't you accepting anything for him? You see what I'm saying? So like it means no. Like if
I get
you're
that.
gonna tell me like if they don't re-sign Landon Collins, I don't understand what they're doing. If they cut Jenkins at the end of the year, then I don't understand what they're doing. Because even if you're going to do that, like the teams that you're negotiating with don't have to know that going in. But you knowing that, you take anything. When it's down to the wire, when the trade deadline's 4:00 and it's 3:45 and it's time to start bluffing, you take the best offers on the table. And you take the cap hit this year, you free yourself up next year, and you acquire a ton of picks. And now everybody's going to say, what are you going to do with a 4th-round pick? What are you going to do with a 5th-round pick? What are you going to do with these round picks? Here's what you can do with geniuses. You package them. They're assets. They're chips that you accumulate. And then you take those and you package them to move up when you see a pass rusher that's there, when you see the quarterback that's there. They're chips.
I hear you, but I think it might still come down to we couldn't get anything that we really wanted for him. We couldn't get a 3rd, a 2nd, but
then that leads me to believe that they're coming back.
We don't want to take that.
They're all coming back.
We don't want to take that cap hit next year. I actually didn't have a problem with, besides the question of should we take Saquon or a quarterback at 2. I thought his draft was good. I think that was a good draft class that he had. I thought his free agency moves were horrible. Especially.
I think the Barkley as a player is
no doubt.
Sway. He's a really good player. Him as a player, if you evaluate just that, it's going to be a good draft. If you take the whole thing into consideration, I don't care how good Barkley is. It's a failure. I'm sorry. If you don't get it, looking at this thing now, if you don't understand what some people have been screaming about since the draft, if you watch Carson Wentz move up and down the field with guys like Josh Adams and Smallwood and Clement, and you watch these guys that are making plays, that Andrew Luck now with a team around him, all of a sudden with some guys making plays in the backfield. He's got Marlon Mack back there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, guys, I just get the quarterback, and I just don't understand what they did. Barkley, I think, is going to break records. It's going to be phenomenal. I just don't know how many games that's going to win yet.
That's the question.
I mean, look, we looked at this thing in the beginning of the year, and everybody told us this was a playoff team. This team was a win-now team. Barkley's going to make everybody better. This team is ready to win now. Eli still got it, blah, 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 blah. The Jets have a better record than us.
It's absolutely true.
Who has better position players?
Can I answer that? Right in front, I would say the Giants do. Can I name Jets wide receiver? Quincy Enunwa, right? Is that one?
Well, you got Enunwa, you got Robbie Anderson.
Is he injured?
You got Curse. Enunwa was injured.
They got everybody. Curse is older than Eli.
Is banged up now. They lost Bilal Powell, but you know what? They got more wins than we do. You figure it out. I don't know what they were doing. And my concern right now is that, man, remember a couple months ago when I said this is something that if you get this wrong, there's no crystal ball. There's no, next year we'll be able to get the guy or the... I got news for you, all you Herbert fans. If Herbert was in this draft, he would have probably been the 4th or 5th quarterback taken. So... are you putting yourself in a position now where you desperately have to take the quarterback that may not be that good? These are concerns. These are the worries that I had that I didn't want to have if they made the right decisions last year, that now, man, this could be bad for a long time.
Do you think...
Teddy Bridgewater? Come on.
What are your thoughts on Herbert? Do you think he would have been out of
I like him.
Rosen... that whole crew.
The one I didn't like was Allen. Allen was the only one I did not like. I liked all 4 of the other kids. Right now, from the way I'm looking at it, he'd be fighting with Mayfield. I had Mayfield as fourth out of them. I had Mayfield as the fourth one.
Right.
Right now, I would have him somewhere neck and neck with Mayfield. And the only thing that may put him above Mayfield for me is the fact that he's 6'6" and he's built like a brick shithouse. Yeah.
Let's go to the comments. Let's go to the caller. Ready? How about a little 585 action? How does that sound for you?
Yeah, it sounds good. I don't know where they're calling from, but let's talk to them.
Hey, where 585? Where's that from?
Farmington, New York.
Farmington, New York. What's going on? What's your name?
Well, I mean, I just saw the podcast go up, and I just wanted to comment on a couple things.
Sure.
About the Giants team and how they're 1-7 yet again. It's, we spent all this money on the O-line, took a steal in the second round with Will Hernandez, which is not really paying out, but he's a rookie, so it's going to be a learning experience for him. I just don't see the justification of signing Soldier to that huge contract, and yet he has done diddly squat. We might as well just kept Flowers and kept him on the inside.
Right.
And we would have saved all that cap space. Eli's gone down the most in the NFL right now, and there's not a damn thing our O-line's doing about anything about it. Two, I think, honestly, they should, since the season's gone, I mean, kiss it goodbye. There's no chance whatsoever coming back. I mean, so I think you bench Eli, cut Eli, move on from that. Because regardless of the O-line, if the O-line's not going to get better, there's no point in putting Eli in danger of getting hurt.
Oh man, I mean it's the same stuff every week with this team. The line. Eli, I saw on Twitter, to your point about the line, Eli's been sacked again 31 times this year, and what was it, 31 times all of last year? So tip of the cap to Gettleman for fixing the offensive line. Nicely done. Great job there, Grandpa Gettleman. As far as Eli, man, I don't know what the writing has been on the wall for me for the last 2 years. They had opportunities to bring young quarterbacks in and have them sit under Eli. Both regimes, actually. If you speak to the Reese-McAdoo pairing, it looks like they wanted to go and move up for Mahomes. They were told no. And then with the whole way that the Eli situation was handled last year, it seems like a lot of decisions were made to maybe not have Eli questioned, right? So Webb is let go, and there's really nobody. Tanny's the backup, and you start to wonder, like you see in a situation where Andy Reid had a couple of years ago with Alex Smith, where they brought in the first-round pick, and they got a hell of a year from Alex Smith because he was motivated, because he had the guy behind him. For years, there's been no threat to Eli Manning sitting behind him. And the way these decisions are being made, you have to really start to question. And I'm talking about the decisions from Patricia, and I'm talking about the head coach search and the general manager search, to where you really have to start to think, was it positioned to certain people in the room? Are you with Eli Manning being your quarterback, or are you not with Eli Manning being your quarterback? And it seems to me that the candidates in the room who probably would have went the other way, or at least would have looked to bring in some competition so that maybe you get the best out of him or prepare someone else to take his place, was sort of ushered to the side. And they brought in everyone who was basically on board with Eli Manning. So the question I have is, has the light gone on for the front office all of a sudden? Or are we getting a bunch of, especially now what happened with Loletta, a bunch of lip service and excuses to stay with Eli? And my concern is if Herbert does not come out and that quarterback is not there next year, even with your high pick, and you don't get your quarterback, well, ladies and gentlemen, who's your quarterback next year? It is going to be Eli Manning. and you were going to be sold the same goods of shit that you were sold this year. You're going to be sold. We're going to rebuild the offensive line, and they'll bring in 3 more new guys for the whole right side of the line, and they're going to give you a whole bill of goods, and they'll sell you this, and they'll bring somebody in for the defense, and they'll tweak that, and then they're going to take some Band-Aids, and they're going to put some more on the broken limbs that this roster has, and nothing's going to change. So until the front office can recognize here's the plan, that Eli's our quarterback now, but he will not be next year. And what is the plan to replace him and to take that plan seriously, unlike they did last year when they went back on it? That's the question. Are they ready to put the plan in motion, or are they just basically just treading water?
Treading water, or the plan right now, it's we're not treading. We're not even treading water. I'm going to put you on hold and go to the next call.
And that's the sin of it.
Just hang tight. Let's see. 702. Is that a familiar number? What's going on?
Yo, what's up, boys?
What's going on? How are you?
A milli. Yep.
We can hear you.
Hey, there's no way he's staying. It's impossible. And all the talking heads on the media are absolutely destroying him. Every little thing you watch,
You think that matters? Do you think it matters?
No, it matters.
What they do last
year? It matters.
Year?
Okay, it matters because this is going to be 2 consecutive years. Remember, I was telling you a couple weeks ago. I hope they lose. I want them to. No. I'm saying 2 years of absolute disgrace, of back-to-back horrible, horrendous Cleveland Brown level years. So he's gone. 100% he's gone. I'll bet you any amount of money he is gone. So if Herbert doesn't come out, then what do we do? That's what I want to discuss, because he's gone. 100% he's gone. So what?
I'm not sold on that.
What do we do? Okay, well, why don't we just discuss in hypothetically, for the fans that do believe he's gone, what's the play if Herbert doesn't come out? That's what I'd like to know, if you don't mind that.
If Herbert doesn't come out, you're punting till next. Here's what: if Herbert doesn't come out, you're going to take a lesser kid and hope that you hit on him later in the draft, in the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th round, and you're still going to be punting for the next year for when a big crop comes out and you can get your hands on a big kid. That's it.
Right.
And you cross your fingers that you get right.
But why burn a pick then on a quarterback?
Because you have him playing quarterback if Eli's not coming back.
Well, who cares if we're punting this season? Look how many friggin' draft picks we're burning here year after year.
You're gonna punt with a rookie quarterback anyway, even if it's a top 5 pick. The odds of that quarterback panning out right away, you're gonna struggle year to year. So if you're telling me that you could find value in a kid in the 2nd or 3rd round, you're not wasting the pick or reaching, you draft him. You only have Lilletta on the roster at that point.
I don't understand why we wouldn't just draft heavy in the line and throw Lilletta out there for the year. I mean, we're punting anyway.
Guys, Lilletta stinks.
I understand that, but we have no chance to win.
So what you want to do is you want to cut Eli, right? So your plan is to cut Eli, make the kid that can't get it there the starter. He can't even get there on time. You want to make him the starter, and then just draft linemen to put around him?
Well, you're going to have to rebuild your line, and the best way is through the draft.
Guys,
picking them up in free agency.
First of all, we have to learn from the. Let us learn from the sins of the past, shall we?
Yeah.
You start reaching for positions of need in the draft. You end up with Eric Flowers.
Mm-hmm.
Stop worrying with the draft about positions. Stop it. This roster is awful. You cannot go through this roster and tell me there's one position on it that doesn't need an upgrade besides running back.
Yeah,
That's
but
it.
you just argued against
I
your
know
own
I didn't.
point. So
not really, because you got to let me finish my point. My point is this: when you get to the draft, you don't look at positions. You take the best goddamn players when you're rebuilding. If you end up taking 2 defensive ends, you take them.
No, but we're saying if Herbert's that's why I'm asking you if Herbert's not there. It looks to me that he's the best option, and there's no one else we would really want.
No, but you got to remember, there's no one. I'm not saying that you take one of those kids in the top 5. But if you're telling me you get to round 2 or 3 and one of those kids is sitting there and they're at proper value, then you take one of those kids.
Well, this is what
if you're asking me what I do if Herbert's not there and I got a top 5 pick, I'm taking the best player on the board at any position.
Okay.
Corner, defensive end, lineman, anything. You take the best player on the board. Or here's another way to rebuild, which could have been done last year, was you field calls when you're on the clock. No. Make you offers which include picks.
You hang up.
Take those picks, and then you take players.
No. You put the phone off the hook.
No, hell no. Why would you do that?
That's what Gettleman did on the clock this year.
Well, I know he did that, but I didn't agree with that. I thought that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I mean, I'm not looking to sell my house right now. But if somebody came knocking and made me an offer, I'm gonna listen to it.
No, you don't answer the door.
This is the guy that's. Here's the other thing that should concern us as Giant fans. The guy that turned his phone off on the clock because he watched Eli Manning played one game against the Eagles last year is now making decisions for your franchise.
No. This is not good. Well, who would you take if we get the first overall pick? Who right now
Herbert.
is the clear pick? I'm saying we're already assuming that that's the case.
To be honest, probably one of the. If you're asking me, you know what? If I'm, oh man, those 2 defensive players, both and the other kid, are tough. They're tough to pass on at 1 or 2. I like Herbert, but I feel like in the top 3, you're reaching.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like he shouldn't be there. I don't know. I like him. I like him as a prospect. Maybe I'll feel different in a month or so. But right now, like, and that was my problem from last year, Marco. Remember, it was like you're gonna have to trade up or reach, or like you don't have to do anything when you were sitting at 2 besides make the pick. And now there's a whole bunch of question marks surrounding this thing, and no, I don't think anybody knows which way it's going to go. I think we don't even know if Herbert's going to come out. If Herbert doesn't come out, do you just take the defensive end that's going to be there if you're at the top of the draft and try to, add to the defense, or do you trade the pick?
I think you trade down. I think the biggest need for
I'd have a hard time.
Trade down.
They're not trading down. They're not trading down. It's not happening.
Right? I mean, I would think
because you think Herbert's coming out.
Hold on. Before I go any further, why do we start the show? We've started the show at 10 o'clock for the past 2 years. I leave Demi at 9:54. And it goes 20 minutes in.
Because we wanted you to get in here nice and warm, all stretched out. All ready to go.
I had coffee.
Yeah. We went through a nice tutorial in the beginning as well.
We had a coffee tutorial.
I have a hot take for you.
You have a hot take. Uh-oh.
I have a hot take for you. Kyle Lauletta.
Go ahead.
You flaming bag of douche.
Look at this.
Go ahead.
First of all,
Chad Kelly, can you hear me?
Listen. I mean, if Lauletta got arrested, then they should just sign Chad Kelly.
Yes. If they're gonna keep Lauletta, why not sign Chad Kelly? Because he has more talent than Eli and Lauletta. Go ahead, Justin.
Why not? Like, that's the thing. Secondly, Kyle Lauletta. What are you doing? What are you? I mean, it's not every day that a classy, well thought of franchise screws up their quarterback position in the year previous and has reps for you ready to go. they're gonna use this to keep him on the bench.
Yep.
They're gonna use
This is Eli's wet dream.
I don't know what is happening to her. It's like I'm in a bad nightmare.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I told you so.
Now,
Chad Kelly, can you hear me?
Jimmy, here's my issue. I don't know. There's not short of taking Herbert. I don't think there's a solution that we'd like.
No. Teddy
quarterback
Bridgewater isn't a solution. Colin Kaepernick isn't a solution. Like that's not how you do it.
Here's the thing. You could all of those guys that you're looking at bringing in that are the veterans. I mean, to give up what you would have to give up to get them, even in the form of the contract that you would have to sign them to.
Yeah.
It's just not worth it.
Silly.
What? So forget about Teddy Bridgewater's knee. I'm willing to give him a pass on that. But what I'm saying is, you're gonna have to absorb at least a $10 million cap hit to sign Teddy Bridgewater this year after the season, and it's not worth it. There's no chance. To quote my man Vince McMahon. By the way, Vince, if you're listening.
Yeah.
Nick was worth of free advice, Vince. Your show in Saudi Arabia this Friday, not a good idea.
Not the best look?
Not a good look, my friend. That's why Johnny Cena and Daniel Bryan, they got together with their spouses that are sisters, and they made a family decision that they're not going to be on the show. So, anyway.
Chad Kelly, can you hear me?
Is that your answer?
No, to everything.
I mean, to be honest, I have a lot of nausea.
When we started the show, Justin, we were like, really, like, what ring of the 3-ring circus would you like to start in today?
Have we talked about the Redskins game yet? Did I miss that?
No. Why? You want to talk about the Redskins game? Let's dive in.
I have a few things to chat on with the Redskins.
I blacked it out from my memory, to be honest with you.
When did they play that? Last week? Oh my God.
Sunday.
Yeah. I actually thanked God for the Loletta arrest because it made me even forget less about that game.
Here's my problem. People want to blame the offensive line because Eli's getting sacked. He's a statue back there. He can't move, and when he does move, he steps up into pressure. But leaving that aside, when they were in the red zone,
that was so far away.
There were no
plays
for Odell Beckham. There were no plays for Odell Beckham in the red zone. Hell, we ran a fade to Benny Fowler. How long has Benny Fowler been on the team? And what is his qualification to be a red zone threat? Is it because he caught Peyton's last pass in the NFL? Is that why he's on the Giants? Because Peyton gave him the old stamp of approval? I mean, let's face it, guys. The Mannings are hijacking our franchise. It was cute when they were winning Super Bowls, but this is just ridiculous.
What is it?
Again,
6 out of the past 7 years?
Pat Shermer. Let me give Pat, if you're listening, give him the number, Marco.
It's 516-453-9383.
Pat, you need to hear me on this. I say it every week. I'm going to say it again. When we're in the red zone, Saquon Barkley needs to be in the game. Not Wayne Gallman. Not a shotgun set that has Barkley, not in a position to make a play. Saquon Barkley needs to be in the game. And when you're in the red zone, the order of your targets should be Odell Beckham, Saquon Barkley, Sterling Shepard, and that choking dog, Evan Ingram. Evan, you suck. I'm so frustrated because here's the thing. The way that we play in the red zone, they read their own press clippings. They fully believe that we're good enough to waste red zone targets on Benny Fowler and the three-ring circus. Throw the ball to Odell Beckham.
Here's a fun fact.
Go ahead, go.
Go ahead, Justin. I'm sorry.
No, go.
I'm gonna throw in fun facts all night long. So here's a fun fact. In the 2 years he spent with the Ole Miss Rebels, it was quite remarkable, as Chad Kelly set a whopping 25 football records there. Go ahead, Justin.
How many records?
25.
That's a lot of records.
He was the first quarterback in SEC history to average 309.1 yards passing per game in 22 games. Go ahead, Justin.
Well, here's my thing. The Giants are at a crossroads, right? And what they do next year is going to tell us exactly where they are as a franchise. They have to decide if they care more about Eli Manning's squeaky clean image and his royalty within the football world, or if they want to win football games. You can't win football games with Eli Manning as your quarterback. And that's not because he's not a good thrower, I read that thrower's a great word. You can tell that I'm agitated.
A window thrower.
He's a good passer under certain conditions which are not sustainable in the NFL. He needs a clean pocket, and he needs, wide receivers that can make plays. Eli Manning's days of making receivers better than they appear to be are well behind him. Remember what he did with Steve Smith? Steve Smith was our number one receiver in 2013?
Most receptions in a season, I believe, too, right?
Here's a fun fact about, you want to throw stats in there? Okay. In 2015, Chad Kelly, became one of only 3 SEC quarterbacks. Check out this company to throw for 4,000 yards in a season. To 2 others being Jim Couch in 1998 and Johnny Manziel in 2013.
I see a theme.
Chad Kelly's bad fun facts.
I see.
I so want this kid on the Giants. He would be so much fun to watch. Oh, here's a fun fact. Chad Kelly's nickname, Swag.
How about that?
Have we talked about have we talked about how Dave Gettleman's gun shy?
What about great grandpa?
The fire sale you're talking about? You still waiting?
Yeah, the fire sale that was a grand total of 2 players.
Yeah, the fire sale that never was. Splendid. Justin, what I was telling Marco before is, you know what that screams to me? We're gonna come back and do this all again next year.
Oh, absolutely, 100%.
Right? I think Eli's coming back next year.
Because here's the thing.
Chad Kelly hops fences to fight high schoolers in the middle of a game defending his brother. I want that guy.
Chad. Yeah.
That's from John May.
Can we get all the Giant fans on Twitter? Can we scream? And here's the thing. Eli cried, right? And all the Giant fans went crazy, and they gave him his job back. If we can get everybody if we just get married and think we're not going to show up at the games unless we sign Chad Kelly, he'll be signed by Friday. Mara has no balls.
If you
wait, is that
here's
true?
The thing that's
I never heard that story.
Can we read the article?
No, Chad Kelly is awesome. That's it.
Here's the thing that's confusing to me. So, you sell Snacks Harrison and you sell Eli Apple, but you don't sell Janoris Jenkins, OB, or Collins. Now, here's what I'm going to say to you. You can convince me, even though I think it's not likely, you could convince me that Collins is in their long-term plan. But I'm telling you right now that if the Giants go 4-12 or worse, if I'm Landon Collins, what's my incentive to stay in New York?
Can I say something real quick about Collins? To me, if you're not going to trade him, then that pretty much guarantees that you're signing him, right? Because I don't understand, and they could say that they had a second-round value on him. Teams know that you have to re-sign him. Teams aren't stupid, so you can say second-rounder all you want, but it's a safety that's underperforming that has to be a strong safety with a really good free safety next to him, or else he's left out to dry a little bit in coverage. So he's sort of a matchup play in that respect that you have to re-sign going into next year. So why are these teams going to give you a second-round pick for this guy? You literally have to re-sign him to a bigger deal.
Well, how about this?
And Justin, wouldn't it have been crazy for them to trade him and then negotiate with him as a free agent? How about that?
Right. No, that's what I was going to say. How about you do a New York Yankees where they traded away Chapman to the Cubs? He won a World Series over there, and then they came back and signed him primo dollars.
Yep. Get max value for the guy, and when he hits the open market, you go ahead and you talk to him about a contract. Nothing's changed. You still have a good relationship. Are you telling me that Gettleman doesn't have that type, or Mara doesn't have that type of relationship with his players, that he can walk in and be like, hey, Landon, listen, I have to do, I have to do what's best for the franchise. I need picks. We need to get players in here. You see that. You're not blind, right? So that's my game plan. I don't want to trade you, but that's the position I'm in. Now, knowing that this is more business, I'm going to give you an opportunity to go somewhere and win this season and put you in a position where you can showcase your talents and make the most out of free agency when you get there. I think you deserve that. You've done enough for my franchise. So I'm going to put you in a position where you can thrive, where you can hit free agency, because you know what? I want to be the one that pays you when you get there. Are you telling me that he wouldn't be receptive to that conversation?
The only thing that I don't know that I was thinking about is, and I don't know if this is true. So, if we say we traded him to the Chiefs for a third-round pick, say we went under our grade, right, for that purpose of we're going to try to sign him back at free agency. Whoever we
Or
trade
just
him to,
you still want value back. Yeah, go ahead.
franchise him.
I think they do.
So
And
that's
if
the
they
only
do, Justin, so bad, so sad. That's a risk you take going into the thing, right? But you know, you have to assume that they're not going to want to franchise him. Wouldn't they want to franchise one of their own?
Right, one of their own.
Are you really going to franchise Land? You really want to franchise Landon Collins? That's the guy that you want to pay as one of the top safeties in the league? I don't know that.
Yeah.
I think I would pass that buck to the other organization and be like, hey, you want to franchise him? Have a blast. I'll negotiate at the market value for him. I know what type of player he is. I drafted him. But this whole thing about overpaying guys, hasn't it gotten us in trouble before? So if you want to franchise a guy that I have no intention of franchising at all, just because you don't want to franchise him doesn't mean you don't want to sign him long term. You know what I'm saying? You just want it to be cost of value.
No, that's right.
Right?
That's right.
Just to play devil's advocate.
Man,
I mean,
that foreskin isn't there though.
Well,
the foreskin isn't there.
Here's something else too. Honestly,
that's what she said. Go ahead,
Why?
He lost his train of thought.
all the private jokes.
I'm just trying to formulate my words here. Why is Janoris Jenkins
on the team?
Like, why? What about an $85 million corner screams, building piece for next year?
Well, I don't understand why Jenkins is on the roster at all. Are they still trying to win now?
If they
Justin, should these moves have not been made last year? It's like they were a year late and they still missed. Like, these are all the things we were talking about last year.
If they didn't trade Jenkins because they couldn't get a second-round pick for him, then they're really, really a lot dumber than we thought.
It's like a guy in fantasy overvaluing his own player.
So take a third-round pick for him, right? And then you're rolling next year. You give Sam Beal an opportunity. You have that third-round pick again. You're using either a second or third-round pick on your other starting corners.
No, I totally agree. I don't understand what they're doing.
Honestly, people may like this opinion, they may not, but E.W. Webb hasn't played poorly. Like, that's the other thing that's so incredibly frustrating about watching the team actually play is you watch this defense play balls to the wall and play with nothing but heart for 3 quarters, and then after the offense mucked it up for the 4th time, and Eli sacked himself for the 7th time, the defense says, what the heck are we doing? And they're out of position on one play with Adrian Peterson, and that's it.
Game over.
Like, this is the NFL. They want you to score points, the whole league is built on offensive production, and our defense routinely had us in position, despite not being able to score points. Midway through the third quarter. At some point,
here's my thing, guys. Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish your point.
At some point, someone's got to step up and make a play.
Here's my thing, right? Now, am I saying that Andy Dalton is a great quarterback? No. Andy Dalton's not a great quarterback. Andy Dalton's a serviceable quarterback. He probably, on a weekly basis, has 9 to 10 better weeks than he does the 6 to 7 worse weeks than he has. So he's a 9-7, 10-6 quarterback with the right team around him, right? So, Andy Dalton has Bobby Hart playing right tackle. Now, does Andy Dalton score 40 points a game? No. But Andy Dalton has Mixon, A.J. Green, and a couple of good complement receivers, right? Eli Manning has Barkley, OBJ, and a couple of good complementary receivers, right? Am I asking Eli Manning to be Aaron Rodgers? No. He can't even be Andy Dalton. That's the problem. Like you're beneath that other level right now. Like the league is begging you to score points. They're begging you.
Adjusting the rules.
They're literally calling penalty. They're literally calling penalties on guys who hit people too hard. You can't touch the quarterback. Why? Because when the quarterback plays, people are watching. You think that they intended? You think ABC or ESPN intended for this Monday night game when the Giants come back off their bye to be Eli Manning versus Beathard or Laletta versus Beathard? No, it was going to be Jimmy G in prime time, right? So, the quarterback, man, it just goes to speak to it, and we don't have it. He's not there anymore. He's not even in that middle tier. And what got him above the hump was a team that put him in position to play clutch, which he is. And no one can debate that. When he's in the moment and the team is around him and you need a drive or two in the fourth quarter, man, put him up there in the moment, and I'll take him any day of the week and twice on Sunday. But for 17 weeks, right now, and here's the other thing, guys, the sideline is dead. It's dead. The attitude of the team reflects the leadership of the captain. They're dead. You got the one guy throwing tantrums. Now the other guy's throwing tantrums. Everybody's pointing fingers.
But
where's the quarterback? Don't you see the quarterback on other teams? I saw Brock Osweiler going up and down the sideline, smacking guys on the shoulder pad. Brock Osweiler.
All right, hold. We got a bunch of people on hold. Let's cycle through. Ready? 954. Ready? 9495.
Chad Kelly, can you hear me?
Hey guys, what's up? It's Dominic. It's been a while.
What's up, Dominic?
You guys in quite a bit. Not much. I just wanted to give my 2 cents on how Eli Manning is. Like, if you watch him, right, even when he has protection, when he throws the ball, it looks like it's like slow. It doesn't look like he's zipping it in anymore. And, I honestly feel, I know Kyle Laletta got, like, arrested for, like, disobeying a traffic officer, thanks. But, we need to get anybody else in. Or,
Chad Kelly, can you hear me?
We don't know what we have in our backup quarterbacks. Throw them in there. Can't get any worse than Eli Manning freaking throwing it all.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
What's your name?
Dominic,
a paisan, right? A paisan? Un paisan?
Yeah.
Un paisan.
Yeah.
You know about the gabagool?
Yes.
You know about the gabagool, right? And the sausage?
I know.
You know about the sausage? And the sausage.
He's
He's
knowledgeable in all those things.
He's got the gabagool and the sausage. Okay, good. Right. So here's the thing, Dominic, right? Do you know who Chad Kelly is?
I do know who Chad Kelly is, and I know he got cut.
Now let me ask you There you go. All right, right. So he was a backup on the Broncos, got into a little bit of trouble himself. Right, but we're already keeping a guy on the roster that ran over a police officer, yesterday morning, right? So if that guy's going to be on the roster, let me ask you this, Dominic. Do you think Chad Kelly has more talent throwing the ball and as an overall athlete as, say, one Kyle Lauletta?
I think he has a little more, just based on the way he's played in preseason.
Wow, great, right? And you got a great point, Dominic, because he started out as the third stringer in Denver, right, in preseason. He worked his way up to the point to where he was the backup, and then they were actually, before he went full retard, excuse me, but he before that whole incident, he was pushing to where maybe he could have been playing, right? So let me ask you this, Dominic, as a follow-up. If Chad Kelly, out of all these people that we're talking about, if Chad Kelly was on the Giants and he was the starting quarterback against San Francisco on Monday Night Football, would you be more excited to watch the Giants play than, say, if Eli Manning was the quarterback?
I am not going to lie to you. I would definitely be more interested to see how he performs, given all the other BS that's been going on. You know, the offensive line still you never know.
So, Dominic, so you don't feel bad. Let me try, right? So you would say that we don't want to say that that Chad Kelly is a better quarterback than Eli Manning, right? No. That would probably be a little crazy, right? And you can't compare resumes. But the intrigue of Chad Kelly's talent and his ability to throw the ball all over the field and make plays, he's a little careless with the ball and stuff, but so is Eli. So considering what the upside may be, don't you think it'd be fun to watch him in this offense?
You know what? The worst comes to worst, he looks like Eli, and that's that. Throwing interceptions, getting sacked.
Do you think he can do better than one? Do you think he can do better than 1-7 record?
I think with his, because he's a wild card.
Go ahead, say it,
right?
Dominic, because I'm with you. Dominic, say it, because I'm right with you, buddy. You got an ally.
If he comes through, I think he can win us a couple games, given the talent around him. I think Eli's a shot fighter. I think he's a shot fighter. I think he's taken way too many hits. He's punch drunk. Look at him. Time to get somebody else in there. So what? He comes in, throws a couple picks. Eli's done it. Why not?
Let me tell you something. To back up Dominic, do I think Chad Kelly, if he was on this team, that Chad Kelly and the Giants would be 7-1 or 6? No, I do not think that at all. Let's get that out in the open. Do I think this team would probably have 3 wins and maybe competed for 4? And maybe, if they get a break, maybe they have 5 wins right now? Yes, I do. I honestly do. And here's why. Because I think energy is infectious. And I think that this team needs a lightning rod right now. They need a jolt. And the jolt has to come from the quarterback position. I'm sorry. If it does, it's the only position on the field that when that guy, he can go up and down the field and talk to the defense on the sideline, and it resonates, man. And when people see your quarterback doing it, it becomes infectious. And that runs through the team. Did you see Tom Brady the other night at 41 years old dive for a first down on 3rd and 8 head first?
I did.
Did anybody else see that? Did anybody else see him try to dip a guy and then throw his body recklessly to get a first down? You don't think that sent a message to every single person on that team that we are not losing tonight? So I think if you can get a guy in there that's a firecracker, that can make a couple of plays, that can fire some guys up, and you can play with some emotion, I think it leads to a couple of more wins. So, yeah, I'm with Dominic. I think this team would have 3 or 4 wins if Chad Kelly was a quarterback. I think Dominic's 100% correct, and we should start a petition to sign Chad Kelly.
I'm not actually sure that's who Dominic was wanting.
Oh, okay. I put words in his mouth, is what you're saying, Marco?
Might have changed a few words in there.
That's okay. We'll send you a little care package, a little gabagool, a little pepperoni, a little sausage.
A little Christmas strufoli.
That's a good idea. Oh, strufoli.
All right, let's.
But you like the rainbow cookies, right? You like the
I
layer
love
cookies,
the
right?
rainbows.
That's what you said.
Love the rainbow cookies.
That's
Let's
what
go
you
to
said, the rainbow cookies last
Let's
year.
go to 870. Ready? What's going on, 87?
What's up, guys?
What kind of Christmas?
Yeah.
What kind of Christmas cookie you like?
You talking to me now?
Yeah, we're talking to you.
What kind of Christmas cookie? That's it, man. We're gonna get to the giant stuff. 2 questions. One, what kind of Christmas cookie do you like?
Sugar cookies.
Sugar
Gotta have
cookies.
sugar cookies.
Now, when you say sugar cookies, do you like them plain, or would you say like you get the red and green sprinkles on top of the sugar cookies, or those little like specky things?
You gotta have the sprinkles. You gotta have the sprinkles.
You gotta have little sprinkles, right? The festive ones.
Yeah, give it a little color.
Right. Question number 2.
Right. What's
Chad
up?
Kelly, yes or no?
Let me tell you something. Man, I am from the SEC. I followed Chad Kelly for a long time. I wanted the Giants to draft Chad Kelly whenever he was available. I got so
Justin, get on board.
Yes, I am a big Chad Kelly fan. I'm from Arkansas. I am a Razorback fan. So I had to watch them play him, for several years. I love Chad Kelly.
Am I wrong in my assessment that he's a spark plug? He makes some mistakes, but the kid's got balls, and he'll make any throw on the field.
He's a verbal leader. That's something Eli Manning has never been, and that's hard for me to say because I've been a Manning fan for several years. But if Eli is lying to himself when he says that he's still in it, he's not in it. You can see whenever the pocket starts collapsing, he just wants to go in that little cocoon, and he just wants to just fall down. Did you see the sack Sunday? He was barely touched. Now, think back just 7 years ago. I believe it was 7 years ago. I can't remember then. But the Super Bowl, the Patriots, it was like all 11 couldn't even take him down. And now one swipe of a hand is going to take him down.
And he fumbles on top of it.
It's time to move on. What's that?
And on top of it, he fumbles.
Yeah.
Well, guys, let's call it. I mean, Eli has always been prone to turnovers, right? But it goes to what we've said. It goes if you've listened to the show and you've been with us, Arkansas, for a while. We've said it, right? We love you, greatest quarterback in franchise history. We're not going to debate that. If you're a Giant fan, and I'm a Phil Simms guy, right? And even I think if we were speaking to some older generation guys who have seen. Maybe some of the older guys like Gifford and I think that they would say that Tittle. I think they would say that he's the guy, right? So if you're going to say that he's the guy of all time, right? You can also have a separate conversation as to thank you for what you have done, but as a franchise moving forward, it might be time, right? I mean, those are. So when you talk about when we criticize Eli now and we evaluate his play, I think it's important to separate that conversation. That we're not saying and we're not trying to take away from his accolades, but we're looking at it as right now with the next 10 years of this franchise in mind. And when you do that, you have to take everything into consideration. And the way he's playing right now, he's just not very good.
There's an old saying, and it's what have you done for me lately? And that stands with Eli Manning. What have you done for me lately? He was great, several years ago, and no doubt, and he will go down as the best in our franchise history so far. I'll give him that. It's questioned, will he make Hall of Fame? You can some say yes, some say nay.
I think he will. I'm on the Hall of Fame. I'm on the Hall of Fame train for Eli. I think that's legit. I think he's a legit Hall of Famer. I don't know if he's the first ballot, but I think he gets in.
It's hard enough to win one Super Bowl and get a Super Bowl MVP, but he done it twice.
Yeah,
so
but I would say the past 7 years haven't been too kind to his Hall of Fame.
Agree.
No,
legacy.
The great thing about the Hall of Fame is the guy retires and they don't vote on it next year. So what happens is that it's the end of the guy's career will be less in your mind when it's time for him to come up on the Hall of Fame and you talk about the body of work. And then when you see the body of work and the starts in a row and the 2 Super Bowls and the one of the only people to throw 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl and beating of the Patriots and all the yardage and all the touchdowns and all of this stuff. I think then when you take a step back and look at it 4 or 5 years after he hasn't played, I think right now it's fresh in our mind. We look at everything as fans as in a snapshot of the last game, right? But when I think that's important with the Hall of Fame. They wait a little bit. They give it a pause. Favre, when he went out, he went out after the scandals and the different teams and the coming back and the retiring, take a big pause, and it was a celebration when he went in. So I think that it'll be different with Eli when his time, when he's evaluated. I don't think that he can guarantee he's a first ballot.
Here's my question.
Well, go ahead.
You want to talk about body of work? You want to talk about all those things? Let's talk about body of work. If Eli Manning starts every game the rest of this season, he will have a losing record as a starting quarterback.
Yes, that's a good point, Justin. There you go.
He will have lost.
Justin, great point. I was thinking yards and stuff like that, but that's a great point. You're right.
He'll have lost more games in the NFL than he won.
Exactly.
If he starts every game this year.
Do you think that goes into their decision of maybe when they bench him?
I mean, it should. It absolutely should. Here's the thing. If they really,
it'll be now. That's really interesting to see if Eli's all about winning or if Eli's all about Eli, doesn't it?
If they truly care about Eli and his legacy, then the answer to that question is bench him and reserve his 500 record.
Well,
I don't know what the franchise is thinking at this point. I really don't.
No, I don't know what they're thinking at this point. I thought they realized what was going on and were finally making good decisions when I saw the 2 trades. And then for them not to sell more, and I think that you always ask high. I think that you always ask high. So to have certain value on guys like a second rounder on Landon Collins is completely legitimate. Like I can't argue with their asking prices for these guys. But if you had to settle for a round difference, I think because I'm going to assume that there was a 3rd round pick. I know there was a team offering. I forget who the team was, but there was a report where there was actually a 3rd round pick offered for Collins. Tampa Bay offered a 3rd round pick for Collins, and the Giants told them no. Like, to me, that's completely ludicrous. Like, I don't know what you're thinking. And you would think that if there were offers on the table for Collins, that there would have been an offer where there's smoke, there's usually fire. And the reports that Kansas City was in the market for a cornerback, you would, even if you get rid of Collins for a 4th or Jenkins for a 4th or 5th round value, I don't know that that's not necessarily a bad thing when you take into consideration that you get rid of the contract. And by not doing that and by not selling, it leads me to believe that we are going to hit reset on this Band-Aids on broken limbs thing for another season. And I got a bad feeling that we're looking at Eli coming back, even if they do draft a quarterback, which I'm not even sold on. I think they may punt to the next year.
All right, hold on. Let's go through some comments. Ready? You guys, from John May, you guys think Luletta had some coke in his car or something?
Did he get it from the girl that OBJ was on the bed with? Is the real question. So that's
here's
the real
what
question.
I want to say.
Chris Moran,
here's what I want to say about Kyle Lauletta.
Chris Moran,
Kyle Lauletta,
car.
Given what transpired, Kyle Lauletta's lucky he wasn't shot.
Right.
He ran over a cop.
How about that for? Yeah, and here, you want to know what's funny is I really thank God the office the door in my office was closed because I knew it was the trade deadline. I was waiting for the fire sale. So usually I have my phone on silent. I have my phone on silent usually during the day, and I'll just check it for updates and stuff like that. But on trade day, I had the volume on blast with any notifications from the Giants Bleacher Report and other sources as well, any updates that were coming through. So here we go. right? Sitting there, first thing in the morning, coffee, responding to some emails, having a good day. Ding, 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 ding. Notification. Jump to my phone. Who is it? Did they trade Shep? Did they trade Ingram? Did they trade Jenkins? Did they trade Collins? Did they trade Vernon?
No.
Valletta got arrested for what the fuck?
I know, right? I know. Yeah,
I felt like somebody punched me in the gut. I really thought I was being pranked. I checked my phone repeatedly to see if somebody was joking on me. I went on Twitter immediately. It completely ruined my day. So, welcome to being a Giants fan, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, guys, real quick, here's the question that I have. This is my question. Yes, we all know that Eli is not what he used to be. He's making mistakes. He's taking way too many sacks, which is, you can say the offensive line is horrible, but he's holding on to the ball too long. He's not trying to get away. He's just caving in. Yes, we all know all that. But the yards, they're still there. He's fourth in the league.
On. No. Hold on. Here's what I want you to do, Arkansas.
Okay, but wait.
No.
Let me finish. Well, wait, let me finish. There's a point.
Go ahead.
Look, we can get the yards, but we can't get in the end zone. When does it say, Sherman, look, hey, what type of plays are we running when we get in this red zone?
Don't be hoodwinked and bamboozled into the yard.
I understand what you're saying about the yards. Stats are very misleading, and I definitely understand.
Here's what's going on, and there was I'm trying to. Oh God, please let me have it somewhere. I don't know if I retweeted it but I definitely saw it. It's the stats by quarter. It's the stats by quarter for the New York Giants. The stats by quarter for Eli Manning, and it is absolutely absurd that. And I'm looking for it now. All of their yards, it's like they get down, and then they're able to move it in the fourth quarter, and people are like, whoa, Eli Manning, he almost threw for 400 yards. Yeah, well, they were in the prevent the whole fourth quarter.
Right, exactly. And
180 yards dinking and dunking his way upfield on 3 drives.
All right.
A touchdown drive, got to remember, the touchdown drive against the Redskins, the score was already 20-6 with less than 5 minutes to go in the fourth. The game's over.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
If I'm playing defense and I'm the Redskins, the only thing that I'm guarding against is a quick touchdown.
Exactly.
All right. Here's
if they score and it takes 7 minutes.
Here's a comment that I see. Right. Ready? So the worst line in the league is the Houston Texans. The same Houston Texans that have won 5 in a row. Imagine that. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I'm still looking for this damn thing. I don't think I retweeted it. I think I just saw it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like 78% of Eli Manning's yards comes within the last 3 minutes of the game. I know what you're talking about. And,
yeah, man,
and that's why
it's insane.
Right.
It's insane.
But time and time again, look, who's number one on our team? It's our field goal kicker, Rosa. He's missed 1 field goal all year.
Wait, has he missed one?
And they're not long field goals neither. These are within 40 yards. That tells you that we're moving the ball, not enough, but we are moving the ball. But what happens? We get in the red zone, unnecessary sack, overthrow. I can't count on both hands how many times he's missed a open receiver in the end zone. It's just mind-boggling.
And what was Barkley? What did he have? What did Barkley have? Like what was it? Like 14 carries for like 38 yards or something like that. And I got news for you. And the kid's unbelievable, but the more I'm watching, Justin, I still have concerns between the tackles. And I'm hoping it's the line, but I don't know with some of the things I see.
Here's the thing.
So
here's the thing on on Barkley.
It's unfair to me. It's unfair to really evaluate him running the football between the tackles with that line fully.
Here's why. You can load the box on him because the quarterback can't beat you.
Can't make a play. Exactly.
Eli's making Saquon worse. If there was a quarterback that the Giants had that was even a threat to make a play down the field,
Chad
Saquon
Kelly
would have more space. Give me Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly, can you hear me?
Line him up.
So that's 4 people we've spoken to tonight, and that's a vote from Justin as the 4th.
Hold on.
That are all on board with this Chad Kelly thing.
Why don't we do this? Why don't we do a Twitter poll? We haven't done that in a while.
Are we gonna do a Twitter poll?
Should.
Watch this. Watch the hacks come out for Eli. Well, how can you watch Chad Kelly? Like, have you watched him play? He could throw the ball. He's fun to watch. Go watch
Should the Giants sign quarterback Chad Kelly?
More fun to watch. Eli versus San Francisco. Chad Kelly versus San Francisco.
Yeah, no doubt.
That needs to be the Twitter poll. What would you be more excited to see coming off of the bye? If Eli Manning versus San Francisco, or Chad Kelly versus San Francisco on Monday Night Football? Which one would Giant fans be more excited and intrigued to see?
You know, I could throw another name out there for you. When the Eli Apple trade, when it started going down, everyone thought it was going to be a Bridgewater.
No.
Understand?
No.
I get it. But on that note, he could be a bridge. He could be a bridge.
I don't want a bridge. I don't want a bridge. No bridges. Go get me the guy. I don't want a friggin' bridge. No, I don't want a McNown. I don't want one of those guys. Please, I don't want a Case Keenum. No. I lived through Dave Brown. I lived through Kent Graham. I lived through Kerry Collins. Like, no, thank you. Get me a guy. Go get me the face of my franchise. We're the New York friggin' Giants.
I agree. I got one more question for you. I know I took an enormous amount of time, and I appreciate it. But you're on the Chad Kelly train. You call in whenever. You're good.
You get automatic privileges.
Yeah. CK.
This is one simple question here, and we've talked about this before the draft happened. If Baker Mayfield would have been available, do you believe they would have pulled the string on Baker?
Nope.
Or
no.
Do you think the same would have happened?
Nope.
No, I don't believe they would have pulled the string on Baker. I think that they would have. I think if Barkley would have went first, I think you would have seen Gettleman turn his phone back on. I don't think they were going to do anything to upset the apple cart. I think Davis Webb was let go because they didn't want, and I think Willett has been inactive, much like Webb was last year. And you say to yourself, Geno Smith and Tanny, why? Like, what's the point? Like, get these kids ready to at least where, if Eli goes down, what are you playing for? You're playing to see if you can develop this kid or if you need to go get another quarterback, considering Eli's age. So it never made sense to me why these kids are inactive. And when you start piecing these things together and all the decisions that have been made from the McAdoo hiring, because remember, McAdoo was hired because of his relationship with Eli Manning. So they didn't get McAdoo, they didn't just get him from under a rock. He was there. They had successful years. So, when you think about all this stuff and you think about the coach that was hired and the general manager that were hired and the coaches that weren't hired and the general managers that weren't considered or hired, then you have to start thinking, is Eli Manning, just like Justin said, are the Mannings and Eli Manning, are they running this franchise? And when you really, as a Giant fan, you take a step back and you really we just talked about snapshots in the whole picture, take a look back to when he was drafted. You're talking about a person that manipulated the draft process. Go to San Diego and ask them how they feel about Eli Manning. So, while we love him and no one's taking away from what he's done in his career, when you have a real conversation about it and you look at things from an objective point of view, there are some things that you need to legitimately have a question about as a Giant fan to ask, are these decisions being made to appease a resume and someone that we have some sentimental value with, or are they being made harshly to say we got a franchise to run and we want to put another trophy in the case? And I think Giant fans right now are torn on which side they're on, and it's clear cut right down the middle of the fan base. The Giant fan base is like America.
I definitely agree. And I believe last year, when McAdoo, when he made that move, if he would have made the move with Davis Webb, I don't think he would have had half, because we needed to see what Davis Webb can do, and that was why he didn't make that move. Because here's the thing that people don't understand. I've been trying to get everyone, and there have been some beat writers since that have mentioned this, and for some reason it keeps going over the fan base's head. And if these guys can back me up, I said this from day one. I understand the fan base being upset, one, that Eli was being benched, okay? But again, when you look at the big picture, you could not go immediately to Davis Webb for two reasons, okay? One, he was running the scout team. He was inactive. So how can you go from being inactive and running the scout team to starting the next week a road game in Oakland? Can't happen. Here's the second thing. You have an entire locker room full of people. You've given Geno a lot of responsibility as your backup quarterback. Whether Giant fans like it or not, as the backup quarterback in that situation, Geno probably, in my opinion, I had no problem with him starting that game, okay, for two reasons. I thought he could take the harpoons for Eli, right? And I thought it was a nice chess move in order to get to Davis Webb. And I thought the move would have been to play Geno against Oakland and then to either start Geno at home against Dallas, let him get booed off the field, and Davis Webb comes in as a savior and gets cheered, and we see what Davis Webb is for the rest of the year, or you start Davis Webb right off the bat against Dallas. Right.
And I think that was the plan, and the fans went crazy, and Mara cowered to them, and now here we are. So I think that you got to be careful with saying the Geno thing, because when you look at it, would you have rather not have cried last year when it was Geno and be in a better position now? What did it get us for Eli, for that whole situation to not get to Davis Webb? It was short-sighted.
Oh, I did. A wasted draft pick. That's what it got us.
And it hurt us. It hurt us.
Yeah, no doubt.
Good call.
Ugly.
Well, guys, I appreciate
ugly.
it. And I just want to let you know I listen to you guys all the time, and I love you guys. I love what y'all do, and I absolutely loved whenever y'all did the play-by-play on the was it the Sunday night game, I think, or was it the Monday night game?
It was the Monday night game.
Yeah, that was awesome. You guys did a hell of a job. I just want you to know.
Oh.
Hey man, we're gonna. You know what? I'll tell you the truth. We've had a couple of people say that. I think we need to make it a regular thing. I think we need to make a commitment and just make it a regular thing on Sundays. I think it'd be fun. And we give the Giant fans a little something extra to listen to, because who the hell wants to listen to, especially now during late in the season, we're going to have to be the entertainment for the Giant fans, because they're going to send like the Q team to do our games. That's right. Yep. Get on board.
We're gonna need a roster. Who's playing over there? Who's that player over there? Consistently updating.
Be the announcers you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Be the two old guys from the Muppets doing the Giants game.
I will say, I did love, speaking of the roster, I did love the Corey Coleman signing. Get that guy on the field and see what he can do.
I thought the Corey Coleman signing was when they moved him up to say that he was going to be on the roster now, and they signed him from the practice squad. I honestly thought Shep was getting traded.
And so did I.
I thought that was the signal that okay, they're serious about Sean. They don't want to they're not going to pay these two wide receivers. It may be time to flip Shep, who his value may be not greater than it's going to be right at this moment in time before the deadline. You may be able to get a second-round pick in return for a wide receiver that you're not going to sign. That was tempting. So I thought that was the signal to do it, but fire sale ended up being riddled with water.
It was mighty.
Yeah, I don't understand. I didn't understand it at all. You know, you move two pieces, and then I understand why you moved the two. You know, it's time for, we drafted Tomlinson. He needs to play his true position, which is nose tackle. You know, we switched to the defense, to the 3-4. I understand that. You know, you're taking the cash, you're getting that back. I get that. I get it. I understand it. But, it doesn't make any sense just to move two. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't. And it leads you to believe, like, what did they, they make the trades, before the Redskin game. Then they watch the Redskin game and decide to themselves, you know what? We're good. No reason to make any moves. We're okay. Like, I don't understand, like, how you watched the Redskin game and it didn't just solidify that you should sell everyone.
Well,
hey, what do I know?
The thing there is, we've been in every game this year except for one game. That was the Philly game where they just blew us away. But we've been there in every game. So we're not. Yes, we're far, but we're not that far. If that makes any sense at all. The defense, like y'all alluded to earlier on, the defense, they bend but don't break until they can't take any more than they have to break. Because let's face it, we're not putting up points. Rojas is doing everything he can possibly do.
Rojas can only do so much. Poor Rojas.
And to think we didn't even think he was going to be on the team. Bring in some competition for him.
Yeah, right.
The one right move.
To be a Giant
MVP
fan.
Rojas.
All right, gentlemen, do you have anything else to give to this podcast?
No, just that I hope Chad Kelly's listening and knows how much I wish he would come save us. That's it.
Dad, we need you.
He's gonna block me on Twitter.
So you want to do the recap and see how many people voted for Chad Kelly?
Oh, definitely none.
All right, guys. Again, I'm out. Y'all have a great night. Appreciate it.
You good, buddy.
12 votes in, and it's 75 to 25 no.
Because you got a bunch of young kids out there that are idiots.
You really know how to endear yourself to the fan base.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. If you're gonna tell me if you can't go and watch Chad Kelly play and watch Eli Manning play and say to yourself, wow, you know what? With Barkley and Beckham, I'd love to see this kid throw the ball around the field. As compared to what we're watching now, like, I'm not saying that he has to be the franchise quarterback, but if you're telling me that you're looking for a guy to bring in just to maybe, create a spark or give a kid a chance who's going to cost basically nothing, on a kid that has talent, if he screws up, what does it cost you? Look what New England is doing with Josh Gordon. If Josh Gordon screws up, they're going to cut him. It cost them practically nothing. So why not? You always roll the dice on talent. And I get ridiculed a lot because people will say, oh, you love these guys that don't play for the Giants, and you criticize the guy that plays for the Giants so much. Well, here's the thing. These guys don't play for my team right now. So I can evaluate them based on talent alone, okay? But now when they sign and you give them an opportunity, now it's a clean slate. And can they make the most of it? So if there's a guy that you could bring in cost to value, you can't tell me that Chad Kelly is not better than Alex Tanner. So if you could bring him in on the cheap and give the kid an opportunity, you may catch lightning in a bottle, and if you don't, what did it cost you? Right? Does it stop you from preventing or drafting Herbert next year? No, not at all. Or if your plan is to sign Bridgewater, even though I don't like that plan, but if your plan is to sign Bridgewater, is Chad Kelly going to stop that, or is Alex Tanny going to stop that, or is Loletta going to stop that? No. So what are you doing? You're bringing in talent, and you're letting it sort itself out.
Mm-hmm.
Justin, am I right or wrong?
I think that you're right. The problem is that the franchise doesn't see themselves in that way.
No, you're right. You're right, 100%. The franchise is disillusioned.
We're not on the cutting edge of strategic opportunities. I mean, we've been doing this drop back with Eli Manning and see what he can do. I mean, we've been doing it for 15 years. We know exactly what it brings to the table. And you know what? You take a few shots this year, you take up your chances, you figure out what you have on your roster currently, and if the draft doesn't work out the way you like it, and you don't like any of these kids that you currently have on your roster, then if you scoped everything out and you want to roll with Eli for the final year of his contract rather than cut him, so be it. But if you don't at least take a look around the roster and around the league to see what's available,
Right.
and you
That's
just
what I'm saying,
blindly
Justin.
go into another year with Eli, what are we doing?
No,
It's
I
very,
agree
very
with you, and that's my point. And that is my point 100% about Chad Kelly is this season is going absolutely nowhere. So you need to evaluate and look at as many different things as you can to be able to see what decisions you have to make moving forward. So if there's and Loletta just got arrested. So are you telling me Alex Tanney is the guy now on the roster? Are you telling me you're comfortable benching Eli Manning for Loletta when he just ran over a police officer a couple of days ago? No. So what do? Do I think Colin Kaepernick's the answer? No. I'd rather a young kid that has some talent that you could bring in and maybe catch lightning in a bottle. And guess what, guys? If he doesn't, who gives a shit? Go sign Johnny Manziel. Bring him in. Tell him to play with his friend Beckham. If you catch lightning in a bottle, great. If you don't, who gives a shit? Because you're telling me you wouldn't be more fired up to watch Johnny Manziel play with Beckham and Barkley in the read option against San Francisco as opposed to what we're seeing on Sundays? I don't care if Manziel gets killed out on the field behind the offensive line. I don't care if he throws 4 interceptions. You can't tell me that going into that game as a Giants fan, there would not be more intrigue, there would not be more interest, you would not be more fired up if there was a young kid like a Chad Kelly, like a Loletta. Well, I don't think Loletta's the cop killer, or could we get in trouble for you calling him that?
No.
I hope not. I hope not. It's a free country. It's America. Vote a week from now. So Chad Kelly or any of these guys, give him a shot.
Could we do an election special on Bleedbigblue?
What type of special?
Oh, man. I don't know if we want to mix business with pleasure.
What does he want to do?
An election
special. Mm-mm.
Is that what you really want to do?
Mm-mm. No, that's not what I want to do. Mm-mm. I don't want to do that. I'd rather do play-by-play. I'll do play-by-play.
Play-by-play
Here's
the
other
election?
thing, too. I read a stat today either on Twitter or on a website of some sort. It said Eli Manning completes 75% of passes when there's no pressure in the pocket, and he can make a throw unobscured. So, and then they went on to say, this is proof that he can play in the league. My thought on that is this. That might be true that he can make throws when he's unobstructed, but just take a look around the NFL. Offense is at a premium, yes, but simultaneously, offensive line play is quite possibly the worst that it's ever been because of practice restraints. And that's across the whole league. So you can't have a quarterback that is a stationary target because mobility is at a premium because offensive line play is not where it should be as a direct result of practice regulations within the NFL and the way that college offenses are being run. Eli Manning was a college quarterback 15 years ago. The game has completely changed. It's faster. It's more athletic. And Eli's not up to snuff. So this 75% completion when he's not under pressure, garbage stat. And these people that are defending Eli are doing it with garbage stats.
100% right, Justin.
Of course. I've been saying it for weeks. Eli Manning is not any good.
Nope.
And if you want to play Eli Manning, then because of some loyalty to him for the multiple Super Bowls, that's fine. Have at it. Just don't expect to win. And when we lose, don't come bitching on our website. We don't want to hear it.
I told somebody that the other day.
We've been doing this podcast for 2 years with teams with losing records. Can you imagine how much fun this podcast is going to be when we're good?
A lot more fun than it is right now with all the negatives. Oh, I won't.
You eat a lot of cheese.
Yeah.
This team is going to kill me. This team is going to kill me.
What?
And I always thought that it would be like mid-game, right?
Mhm.
So I once when I was like 12, I was hanging out with some buddies. We did like a Ouija board, right? You know, we asked the Ouija board like when you're going to die, right? So mine said, I'll never forget it. It stood with me my whole life. It's 2055. I'm going to die of a stroke, right? And I could definitely see that happening. However, I always thought that it would be like mid-giant game, right? Or sex, right? But probably, considering I'm going to be in my 70s, probably sex. But if it was a Giants game, then I always thought that it would be like in the middle of a big play or something big happen and stroke right there, right? Done. Face down, recliner, done. Now, I think it's going to be a move from the front office. I think it's going to be like they shut off their phones during the draft, and I just die on the spot. I think the front office moves are going to kill me. Yep.
I'm over it.
Why would they shut off their phones? Oh.
Save their battery?
Battery life is an issue. All right, gentlemen. I think we should wrap this up.
Wrap it up.
Wrap it up. So if
This show brought to you by Trojan Condoms. Wrap it up. The end of the show is brought to you by Trojan Condoms. Wrap it up. I like that. We should get them as a sponsor.
let's reach out. All right.
We should. I'm gonna look at customer service.
If you're new here listening, please hit that subscribe button. We'll come back to you on next Wednesday, right? We got nothing Sunday. Thank God, no losses.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Yeah. I think that's it, gentlemen. My voice is shot. My spirits are broken. But I don't know.
He's still handsome.
I'm still good looking. Still good looking. That is actually correct. So,
Bleedbigblue Giant fan.
Yep. All right. Thank you, gentlemen, again. Talk to everyone next week.
Yep.
Later.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.